So in my last video, we talked about the position player depth chart for the Minnesota Twins in 2020. Let's take a look at the pitching staff today. One thing I want to point out is that last season in 2019, there were a grand total of 30 pitchers who appeared for the Minnesota Twins. As we look at this summer camp roster of pitchers, there are 29 guys on this. So obviously a shorter season, only 60 games, so maybe that'll help prevent more pitchers being burned up and gone through. However, we have this whole COVID-19 situation, and where if guys test positive, they go on a special injured list. So on the other hand, maybe that'll create just as much disturbance as the regular 162-game season would. But let's kick it off by looking at the starting pitching depth. As you can see, the projected five-man rotation here: Jose Barrios, Jake Odorizzi, Kenta Maeda, Rich Hill, Homer Bailey. I'm not sure if that's going to be the exact order, but I do anticipate those five guys to be the opening day rotation, assuming everyone is healthy. And then that next line, I mean, how many organizations in baseball can go 10 deep as well as the Twins can? You've got Randy Dobnak, who obviously had a really impressive run as a rookie last year. Yoeli Chacin, that's a major league pitcher right there. I mean, he's not like a first division starting pitcher or anything like that, but that's a pretty impressive guy to have as your seventh guy in your depth chart right now. Then Lewis Thorpe, Devin Smeltzer, both those guys contributed to the team. Sean Poppin, who he kind of he went back and forth a bit between the rotation and the bullpen, but I'm putting him in the rotation. We'll get to that in a sec. And then the emergency guys beyond that 10 even. Dakota Chalmers, Edouard Kalina, Joan Duran, three prospects, really young guys. I doubt that we would see any of them really get a long run in the rotation as starters, although they may come up and contribute to the bullpen. The roster out the gate is going to be a 30-man roster, so that opens up all sorts of possibilities. And then I put Michael Pineda on here. He is suspended. He'll start the season on the suspended list, but toward the end of the regular season, he'll become available at some point, so he'll factor in here as well. So that is some impressive starting pitching depth. And then looking back to last season, there were 10 different pitchers who started a game for the Twins last season. I suppose that's really neither here nor there, but just wanted to point that out as we have 14 starting pitchers listed on this depth chart here. So I alluded to Sean Poppin, and I want to bounce back. Do Young Park of MLB.com tweeted out that the Twins are kind of combining starting pitchers right now in their workload. And Cody Christie wrote an article at Twins Daily. I have that up. He kind of gave a little bit more detail and breakdown into how those guys match up. But as you can see, Barrios and Dobnak are pitching the same day. Odorizzi Thorpe are pitching the same day. Maeda Smeltzer, Hill Bailey, and Chacin Poppin. I don't think that's how, I don't anticipate that's how the rotation's going to be broken up or anything. And this doesn't necessarily mean those guys are going to piggyback once the regular season starts, although it's possible. We'll just have to wait and see. But let's go back into the bullpen now and take a look there. I have this out to an 8-man bullpen. That's what I would have projected had the rosters not been expanded, but with the rosters being expanded, the bullpen's going to be bigger. But let's just kind of look at it from a traditional standpoint. At a certain point, they will slim down to a 26-man roster after a few weeks. So Taylor Rogers, Tyler Duffy, Trevor May, Sergio Romo, Tyler Clippard, Matt Whistler, Zach Littell, Cody Stashak. I think those guys are pretty securely the top sort of rung, that top 8. Matt Whistler, if you don't remember, he was a guy the Twins claimed off waivers. Then next up, Sam Clay, and then a bunch of guys who have a bunch of experience. They were minor league free agents. Sam Clay's a prospect. Then Danny Colomb, Ryan Garten, Corey Gear, Caleb Thielbar. And then Jorge Alcala, who's a prospect who transitioned from a starting pitcher to the bullpen last year, made his major league debut with the Twins. And then again, kind of in the same vein as Michael Pineda, Fernando Romero is on the roster. We have no idea really when he's going to be able to come to the U.S. right now. He's having visa issues since he had an issue coming to spring training in the first place, and then now the office that would issue those, usually where he is in the Dominican, is closed. So he's there. He's still out there, so I figured it was worth listing him, but status is very much up in the air. Now, I decided to list these guys. If a guy was a starting pitcher, I put him in the rotation depth. If a guy was a reliever, I put him in the bullpen. However, I definitely expect there to be guys who are starting pitchers traditionally who are going to make this roster and pitch out of the bullpen, at least out the gate. It's still, even though we're getting closer to opening day, it's still too early for me to project out a 30-man roster. I want to wait a few days just to confirm who's going to be healthy and who's not. It's just going to be easier to project out. But I don't necessarily think that all 5 of those guys are going to make the opening day roster, even with a 30-man roster behind the rotation, the Dobnak, Chacin, Thorpe, Smeltzer, Poppin. They're going to want to keep somebody back in St. Paul and have them fully stretched out and ready to step into a rotation spot if needed, even for a spot start while somebody else gets stretched out.